Hello everyone, and welcome to another XTIVIA Live Session, Databases Need Love Too, Best Practices for Your Database, presented by Paul Navin and Kat Long. My name is Alex Killian, and I'm the video producer here on XTIVIA's marketing team. Before we dive into our live session this morning, I want to tell you just a little bit about our company. Since 1992, XTIVIA has established a proven reputation as a company that delivers leading-edge IT solutions and technology support for our clients' specific requirements, regardless of the project's complexity. And our success really stems from a demonstrated ability to deliver deep expertise via professional services. We try to empower our clients to leverage their chosen technology successfully, competitively, and profitably. And we've got offices in Colorado, New York, New Jersey, Missouri, Texas, and Virginia. And today we will be hearing from Paul Navin, Senior IT Business Development Executive for XTIVIA. Paul is acknowledged as a strategic thinker, able to spot industry trends, and then assemble the technical services necessary to meet those needs. And also joining us this morning is Kat Long, SQL Server Lead DBA and Delivery Manager at XTIVIA. Kat is responsible for the architecture, design, installation, configuration, and management of a wide range of SQL Server databases for multiple clients. And she has more than 20 years of experience with databases. Paul and Kat, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for the introduction. And we're glad to be here today to talk about why databases need love too. So we do at XTIVIA a lot of care and feeding for our customers' databases. We have over 160 customers that we work with and provide both support as well as support and monitoring services for those customers. So I'm here with Kat today, who leads our SQL Server team, and to talk a little bit more about how we provide that sort of care and feeding and answer questions about why databases need support. So, Kat, I'm wondering who should be caring for a company's database? I mean, many of our clients have sysadmins on their team, but who should be caring for the company's database?
You know, it really depends on the complexity of the system and how mission critical that actual database is. There's many databases that are out there that the sysadmins and even the developers do a great job of managing. You know, why the developers and the sysadmins do a really good job and stuff of managing, you know, the smaller databases, not so mission critical and everything, it's really best if you actually have a DBA managing your mission critical systems. And kind of a good way to think about it is you go to your doctor, it's your primary care. He can handle like 90% of the things that you go to see him for and everything. But if you're having heart issues, you're going to really want to go see a cardiologist. It's basically databases are the specialists in their area, and they know basically how to treat the more complicated symptoms that your systems are having.
Okay, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Why do you list performance separate from the hardware?
Performance is an overall category. It covers everything. Hardware is just like one small component that can possibly cause performance issues. Other areas that you need to look at for performance is how is your code written? You know, is your code, you know, going through pulling the data that it needs, and that's the only data that it's pulling. And then, you know, when it goes to do an update, it's only updating the records that it needs, and it's not like looping through a long list of everything. So the architecture of how your software works will greatly determine how well your software performs. A good example, on a project that I was working on previously, we actually did a trace of the system, and just to load a single screen for the end users to use, it made over 20,000 calls to a database. And they were wondering why the performance was so slow.
All right, good. You list why does hardware affect database systems? What's the impact that hardware has on database systems?
Hardware is your baseline. It is everything that your database runs on top of. So if you don't have enough significant hardware underneath, you're not going to get any of the performance that you need out of the system. So a good example is I've seen a lot of databases recently that they're actually running on less memory than the newest version of the iPhone has. So it's really important that you actually size your memory allocation for your database directly relational to, how much memory is actually needed to run the system.
Well, what kind of general maintenance should I be concerned about with my database?
There's a lot of general maintenance and stuff that's out there. Consistency check to make sure that your data is actually relating to itself correctly. That's in a relational database environment. You don't have to really worry about the consistency checks when you're dealing with more of the NoSQL environments, but definitely in the relational side of it, you still need to make sure that your data is consistent and it actually relates to each other correctly. Another thing that you really need to worry about is your indexes. My best kind of analogy about indexes is, think about it. The very first time you publish a book, the index should be perfect, pointing to every single page that the data is located at. And that's kind of how an index actually works inside of the database system. But as more and more revisions happen to that book, you're starting to move things around to different locations. So maybe, what used to be on page 10 is now located on page 20. Well, if you don't update your index, when you go look at it, it's still going to point back to page 10. And that's actually what happens with database indexes and stuff, is that the references point back to a page where the data is no longer there. And so the optimizer doesn't know how to actually pull the data out successfully.
Okay. All right. So with all the new technology around high availability, why do I need to still test my disaster recovery plans?
One of the really common misconceptions that we see out there is everybody thinks high availability equals disaster recovery. High availability is just to ensure that the database is up and available 100% of the time, is what you're trying to get to. That will not take into account, like say a user goes through an issues and update statement and they forget the where clause. So instead of only updating 20 records, they update 2 million records. That's a disaster. That's a user-caused disaster. And so you actually have to have a way to make sure that you can recover from somebody actually going and doing that, whether it was malicious or not, unintended, you still need a way to be able to recover from it. That's where the disaster recovery still really comes into play, is that you need to make sure that you have a way to recover from it. Another thing that we see, a lot of people are like, okay, high availability, they have, a couple of servers and stuff that are all a part of the configuration, but they're all located in the same data center. What happens if you lose that one data center? You still have a disaster that you have to recover from.
Yeah, we get so many calls from customers who have lost their database, or their database has gone down, and the first question we usually ask is, do you have a backup? And we sometimes get a long, pregnant pause when we ask that question. And in one case, someone asked us, so define backup. So you have to be very careful about making sure that you have the right things in place. XTIVIA is an IT solutions company that helps organizations by providing end-to-end solutions in enterprise data management. We provide clients with a diverse range of strategic as well as tactical consulting and implementation services across the entire EIM spectrum. That includes database support, like we've talked about today, data warehouse and BI support and consulting, enterprise information management, business process management, master data management, data governance, as well as providing customers with support and implementation services around their CRM platform. And we have a very successful practice around digital experience platform development. We can do a lot of custom application development and provide support services. So XTIVIA really helps companies harness the power of their raw data and deliver business insight. If you can imagine the business outcome, XTIVIA can create it with technology.
All right. Kat and Paul, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So much good information about caring for your databases. I definitely learned a lot. As a quick reminder, our XTIVIA Live Sessions are happening every fourth Thursday of the month, so make sure to tune in for the next one. And if you enjoyed this live session, please click that like button, subscribe so you can keep up to date with all of our content here in our channel, and have a great Thursday, everybody.